Me before playing this video, I really don't have that many green covers. Me actively planning and filming this video, I have too many green covers that I want to choose from for today's video. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited to be filming this video. We are continuing the shoujo covers of the rainbow. Last week we did pink. Shout out to my Patreon channel members because they were the one who voted for that color. And if you are a Patreon channel member, stay tuned for today's poll that should be going up, I think later this afternoon. And you can vote for what color we should do next week. For today's video, we're doing the color green. And I really thought, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this video or at least have as many potential picks as I did during that video for the color pink, because there's just so much pink shoujo manga, which is awesome. Like, I love all the covers. But I was flipping through my reading journal, then I was looking online because I did make another graphic. I'll have it near the end of this video. And I'm like, wow, there is so much. In fact, I was like, I think these are my top 5. There were some other ones I want to feature, but I'm like, let's lock it in for this. So let's go ahead and dive in, because I can say for number 1, I don't know if this is my favorite color, but it is like my favorite full green cover, and that is Primitive Boyfriend Volume 2. I do feel very biased because I really love this series. I remember putting it off for so long because it's about our female lead here. She's in high school and she just feels like all the guys, I wouldn't say meet a certain criteria, that they're not reaching the bar or fulfilling the expectation, but she just sort of feels that they're immature, what she's looking for, despite if they are attractive. And so she goes back home. I believe her family runs a rice field, and she has this sort of like supernatural encounter with this goddess. And this goddess tells her like, hey, I've heard you, I've heard your prayers, and I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna take you back in time to help you find that perfect Mr. Right. I think it's, yeah, looking for Mr. Right is what it says on the back of the cover. And so she goes through 3 different eras, time and civilization. Like, we're talking about like at the very beginning of time when there's just, oh gosh, what did they call him? I can't remember what he looked like this. And obviously she cannot communicate with them. And that continues as she goes into a different time era where humans, mankind, they are starting to wear clothing, sort of, and they're starting to build huts, and they're starting to be more of a community, and just that humans are around, unlike how it was in Volume 1. I was flipping through this, and I was just reminded of how much I love this series. Volume 3 makes me cry every single time. It is such a beautiful way to conclude the series, a very wonderful and strong ending, especially how it ties in all of these different eras that our female lead has gone to. This volume specifically, though, the danger is real. If you need a manga where a female lead is, I mean, she's thrusted into this forest, and there's giant crocodiles and apes and snakes that are very poisonous, and anything that could go wrong practically goes wrong. I was almost a spoiler because I forgot how this volume ended. I'm like, I forgot that had happened. It doesn't brush it off or give her some kind of plot armor. I mean, thankfully, our male lead in this volume is there to help her and keep her safe, but some of these creatures, again, were really dangerous, and I felt very on edge for her because I'm like, this is not typical in the shoujo manga that I read. So I really enjoyed that like fear factor element for her, and wondering how is she going to find the previous male lead, I guess you would say, because she just was so attached to him. When she gets to know this guy, that she gives him a name, she's like, I'm telling myself I'm not going to give him a name because therefore she got attached. But as the series goes on, or as the volume goes on, excuse me, she really gets to see his heart, how much of a trickster he is, despite, again, that they cannot communicate. It's like basic things of going to the bathroom, but taking a bath, eating food, that kind of thing. But somehow it's really heartwarming. And so I put off this series, that's what I was trying to say earlier, I put this series off for the longest time because I just thought the covers were sort of weird. They're not your typical shoujo romance. And then my friend Bree gifted me, I know she gifted me this volume, and I think I'm pretty confident she gifted me Volume 1 as well. And y'all, I was just captivated. And so when I saw that we were doing green covers for today, I was like, this is a must feature. This is a must. I have to gush about it to other people, because if you've been put off by it before, by the covers, you're just like, I just don't know. Please give it a try. I have a video review on it. At least I'm pretty sure I have a video review on it. I know that I do have a YouTube short where I feature one of the the cover, so I'm not sure which it is. But I love the series so much, and I'm so thankful for a chance to just highlight it because it's so very good, and I'm due for a reread. For number 2, talking about due for a reread, I'm going to feature Snow White the Red Hair Volume 23. Oh my goodness, I was flipping through this volume and I loved it, and I'm like, wow, it has been so long. It's been 2 years, according to my reading journal, that I have read a huge chunk of the series because you guys voted for this in my reading review shoujo spree. I'll leave a link to the video here. It was amazing. I knew it would be. This is one of the first manga that I ever collected, even though I hadn't read it for a long time. I remember how I got some of the volumes. I wasn't even actively reading manga, but yet I was actively buying it, which was interesting. But if you're not familiar with this series, it is about our main female lead. Her name is Shirayuki. She is right here. She is very unique because she has red hair, which really stands out in her home country. She ends up getting like a missive, I believe, from the prince who wants Shirayuki to come to him. This prince has a very bad reputation, sort of like a playboy kind of. He doesn't treat the woman bad, but who wants to be part of a harem necessarily either kind of thing that is happening. So rather than going to him, because I think he wants her mainly because of her unique red hair, she ends up cutting like almost all of her hair off, leaves it there for him, so when he comes to get her the next day or whatever day it was, he'll find her beautiful red hair while she is fleeing to another country. And that is where she meets our official male lead here, Prince Zen, right there. And they have a blooming romance that unfolds, so there's just so much more to the story than just a romance. I was reminded of that when I was flipping through this volume, and they're in this arc where they're not using poison, but they are using some kind of perfume that is really affecting the mind. There is a man that comes to Shirayuki, and our precious young man here, I love this character. I can't remember his name. I meant to look up his name. Ryu is his name. I love his character. He is such a sweet, precious bead. And I was like, for green covers, we're gonna make it work when it comes to this, because of like the background is green and he's wearing green, and I just really, really love his character. And I remember as I was reading the manga, I felt so blessed to see the changes in this young man from how he was at the beginning, where he was just all into the books, and he still is, but I felt like he was very much more reserved. Not gonna say he didn't have confidence in himself, but there is a moment that happens later that was so pivotal that I feel that he really saw he's much braver than he realizes, and he's very smart and he's very capable. So seeing his just overall growth in the few months that we've been with him was very, very satisfying and left me really happy as a reader, though that was at the same time where the manga had stopped. I mean, not like stopped permanently or anything, we're on hiatus, but like we were caught up to Japan at that time, and I'm like, this is like the worst spot to be caught up on. Maybe that is where we have ended, because I know we have a new Snow with the Red Hair volume coming out later this year. Very, very excited. It has been so long, which leads me back to say I love these characters so much. They feel like best friends, and I know I mentioned that in that video review of how deeply touched I was by all of the different relationships. I know a lot of people say like, hey, I love Snow with the Red Hair, but then I feel like it fell off because the romance was not as prevalent, and I have never felt that way, thankfully, and my heart hurts for anybody who has, because, you know, when you're invested in that romance, it really plays a large role in your enjoyment of a series. But I found that with this series, I felt I was loving it even more in the sense, yes, I love the romance. Do not get me wrong. They're the ultimate ship, Shirayuki and Prince Zen. I adore them, but seeing them grow as individuals and not just as a romantic couple is one of the most beautiful things in this series. It's been incredible to see. And so that leads me to say that with this arc that I could not remember all of the details. I know that they were looking into a perfume that was sort of messing with the mind, the chemistry, because somebody is is subdued the right word, because there's a man that comes to Shirayuki and Ryu, when he smells it, he just can't sort of stop himself. Like he feels he's in love with that other person. Despite that, I believe he was in a relationship already, and it really left him in shambles, because he's like, how could I ever want to be unfaithful to the woman I love? But whatever is in this perfume causes something to happen, and that was a really interesting investigation that they did. We met new characters, yes, but also characters from the past, because I do feel that it's all fluffy and lots of sunshine and roses, though there is action and there is some intensity, but I feel like in the later volumes we saw like blood on the page, and I'm like, in my Snow with the Red Hair we have this kind of action? Like, what? I remember being really caught off guard by that, because even if we got intense moments, I mean, there was nothing that was happening, you know, by the way of the sword or anything like that. And I was really caught off guard. I was really caught off guard. So I really wanted to feature this because I'm like, man, I need to come back and reread it. I need to come back and reread it. I'm definitely gonna have to reread the latest volume before the new one comes out, because I'm like, I don't remember really anything that happened. This is a beautiful cover. It is definitely one of my favorites, especially a Sweet Ryu's on there, and really thankful to gush about him as well. And just the series, even though this volume is a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller than the other ones, but no less enjoyable or less good. For number 3, I'm excited to talk about this one. It's not the first time I've talked about it, but that is Girl Crush Volume 5. I am so thankful I gave this series a second chance. Actually, I gave it 3 chances, because the first 2 times I was not a fan of our female lead, Tenka. And what makes her different than the other shoujo heroines that I have typically read is she is the mean girl. We see her in the beginning, not gonna say she's bullying, but she definitely knows that she's throwing some shade at one of the other characters, this girl here, which I don't remember her name this morning, but Tenka makes her rival. And the funny thing is, this girl doesn't even know it. She is like the perfect shoujo heroine. Like, she's the heroine I like reading about, who inspires you, who challenges you, who is just so bright, has a very beautiful personality. While Tig, on the other hand, you know, she is throwing shade. She is not happy that she feels the other girl is trying to steal the guy that she likes, despite that there have been nothing romantic there. And so when I first tried this series, I really wasn't a fan of Tenka. I didn't like what she was doing. But what's crazy to me is that this girl, her dream to be an idol inspires Tenka to basically adopt this girl's dream, because she's like, I'm gonna beat you in everything you basically want to be good in. When Tenka goes with her to Korea, she doesn't even know Korean, but she goes and she tries out and does this audition. Things do not go well, and she finds that she actually likes singing and dancing, and yeah, and as it goes to where she is adopting this dream for herself, even though it's something she never imagined it would be for herself. Once I got past and was just able to read and not get caught in my feelings of how I felt Tenka was acting, I was hooked. I have loved every single volume. The character growth of each character is absolutely amazing, because while we haven't really got an inside scoop into this girl's mind, Tenka's friends or Tenka's dance partners or the girls that are trying to become an idol with her, however you want to say that, you really get into their head. You see their motivations, you see their heart, you see the decision or why they're making the decisions that they are, and it all just comes to this incredible moment in volume 5 where nothing goes as planned. It really does read like a sports manga. That was one of the biggest selling points that the shoujo community, specifically on Twitter, sold to me. They kept saying on there, it reads like a sports manga, and I'm like, how can it read like one though, when this is an idol manga, and it is very much different than Tommen's B-side. I would say if you're not really into idols, that this is one I would still recommend checking out, because it shows, I feel like, a different side of the idol industry, in the sense there is no romance thus far. Yes, Tenka had a crush and whatnot, but there is no romance being explored. It doesn't even like there's romance on the horizon. It really focuses and shows Tenka having to overcome certain struggles to get to where she is now. We see her train hard. We see her learning Korean. We see her having to put in this thought of, what does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean when things don't go the way you thought, despite that you gave your all? And as I said in one of my recent, I don't know if I said it in my reading wrap-up video of this volume, but I know I said it in my Goodreads review of, you know, this has to be a sports manga when there's a whole conversation about when it's time to sleep, you need to sleep. I'm like, only my sports manga are we getting that kind of emphasis of the importance of sleep. It's just so good. And this character here on the cover, I can't say this is my favorite cover of the series, but I did want to feature it because of it just made me think, I'm like, I'm really glad I gave this series like a second chance. But this guy here is so flamboyant. I never know what to expect with him on page. He becoming dressed so interestingly. That's like, I love how, and the girls, everybody that's here trying to be an idol, not just Tenka and the girls with her, when they're like, can you really go out in public dressed like that? Because even the first time that Tenka meets him, he had on like a fishnet kind of shirt that you could fully see through. And in this one, I love how he's being accused of like, hey, because he looks like this. He looks like this right here. This is his shirt and his outfit. She's like, hey, go put on a longer shirt. That is what you need. Stop dressing sort of like a weirdo. But he really is an interesting character of how he truly gets into like vibing and getting into this music and how the girls are performing. And you can know when he starts dancing, things have got real. Things have gotten so real. So it's another series that I was very excited to gush about, even though at first I really didn't know what else I was going to choose. I felt pretty locked in for my other two picks, but then I saw this on my shelf. I'm like, you know what? We're taking today to talk about it because again, I'm just very thankful I came back to it. I am very much locked in and I can't wait to see where this series goes because it just keeps getting better and better and better. Oh my goodness. For number 4, talking about a series that keeps getting better and better. Let's talk about It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love. This is volume 4. I love this green cover. It is so cute. I was flipping through this. The swoon was swooning. Lots and lots of cute moments. It is about our main female lead. Her name is Sana. She is very much drawn to pretty faces. She's pretty much obsessed with pretty faces. She loves going through her phone, finding the prettiest people that she can find. And there is a rumor that Senpai here that he goes to a certain school and that if you go to this school, chances are you might see him. She feels he has the prettiest face of all, and she is determined to do whatever she can to go to Senpai's school. She ends up getting approved, ends up going, and she ends up meeting him, and they sort of don't have the best first start because I forgot exactly what happened, but she goes all out, and he just sort of wants to be seen for more than just his pretty face. And not only that, but she ends up finding out that Senpai is on the verge of being kicked out of school because he's not attending classes, he doesn't have good grades and whatnot. He's told by the principal if he can get the, I forget what number it is, but if he can get the school account on what would be considered Instagram, if he can get to a certain number that they will overlook his poor grades, keep him in school, and he can keep, stay there and keep attending. Sana finds out about this and she's like, I am determined to help you. And she ends up becoming his assistant for the social media and uses, I want to say uses, I'm sorry, Senpai, but she is sort of using his face to help gain followers because originally that's how she found out about the school, was by his face being advertised basically, which sounds really bad, but that is where it starts. They end up having a romance that goes past the pretty face, and that is one thing I've really have enjoyed reading this series. I do feel like there is a key conversation in volume 1 that really shows that yes, maybe Sana is very superficial and does not really look past the skin deep as they say, but she does realize though that she shouldn't just treat Senpai, how do I put this? I don't want to say as a very special person because of his pretty face, but that she can look past it and see there's so much more to him than just being really handsome. Though when it comes to this volume specifically, I was totally shocked because we see another pretty face and I was like, wow, that was great. That was great. That person has a very pretty face. I felt bad for Sana, even though I understood where she was coming from, but I still felt bad for her, and I've just really enjoyed. I'm pretty sure it was this volume. If it wasn't this volume, it was yes, I believe it was the previous volume where we see the pretty face, and we're sort of dealing with the fallout of sorts of seeing what happened from that. But the things at the end was so very wonderful. It was so very good. This series continues to get better and better, and I'm really enjoying of how for both of them that they're getting to know the real them. They're getting to know the things they like, the things they don't like, the things that they want to try better on. They're admitting like, hey, I'm struggling with this, or hey, I'm really good at this, even though they've never voiced it before. It's really sweet and very satisfying. Lots of cute moments, and I'm just so thankful that we finally got this in print because I do remember when Seven Seas announced this, all this time, I honestly thought it would have been Viz Media, to be honest. But I was overjoyed. That was a license win for me, and I have just been very enthusiastically picking up these volumes ever since because I've just really enjoyed seeing the romance take off and seeing them grow closer, seeing how Sana is sort of tackling this thing of she really likes pretty faces, but she doesn't want to make Senpai feel inferior, if that's the right word, or nervous, or that she's being unfaithful, but she's also still wanting to like remain true to herself. It's a really interesting balance and seeing that character growth just in that aspect alone. Very good, and just the latest volume has been amazing. So amazing. So very happy to feature this beautiful cover that had all this mood at the end. It was so very good, and just can't wait for the next volume. And for number 5, last but not least, Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, Volume 8. Oh my goodness. You know, I remember how I came across this. I know I have it in my reading journal. I forgot to say that was part of the whole thing with this challenge is I have to choose covers from my reading journal that I have read and I've been tracking for the past 3 years. And then also it had to be the color that my Patreon channel members voted for. Sorry that I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, but I was going through my reading journal and I don't know. I don't know if I just overlooked this volume and I came across it through something else. I don't know, but I saw it online and I'm like, yes. And then as I was, you know, pulling out the manga off my shelf, I saw the back and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite volumes of the series. So very excited. Grant, I love this green cover. I love how Leo and Sarifi look. They look so wonderful. It is so great. And it is about our female lead here, Sarifi, that she is chosen as the sacrifice. In this world, you have the world of beasts and you have the world of humans, and every certain amount of years, a human is sacrificed to the King of Beasts, which is Leo. But there's a twist here that Leo has his own secret and he hasn't actually been taking these humans as an actual sacrifice. Something happens and Sarifi is sort of woven in with this secret of his, but they both end up falling in love with the other person and it becomes this I feel like there's so many big emotions that come with this series, talking about racism, about diversity, about self and loving yourself, and what does it mean to be you, especially in a world where you feel like you don't belong. I do have a video review if you're curious about my thoughts on it. I really, really love this series. It hit me hard when I read it, and I feel that this volume is such a special one because when we have this guy here, and we, based off of the backstory that we know of him, the things we've seen with him in previous volumes, seeing that little bit of character growth when it comes to his deep hatred for the beast for certain reasons, which makes sense, but it was so hard because of how he acts. But then we see this little beast here and how he helps him. Y'all, it was so special. It was so wonderful and really, really enjoyed it. Also, that's when we get to really, well, we meet Lante before now, which is another character in the series, but seeing him really dedicate himself as Sarifi's personal knight was everything. It was everything. This is definitely another series that I am due for a reread because some of the details when I was skimming through this, I'm like, it's a little bit hazy, and it's probably been about 2 years, I think, since I've read this series. Shade Geeks Out, she had gushed about it so much, and I remember really wanting to read it originally because she had just praised it. I mean, it was up there for Yona of the Dawn for her, and I was like, wow, like she loves Yona of the Dawn. That is such high praise. I need to get on this series and read it for myself. And so I believe it was like a Mother's Day that my husband let me binge buy the whole series. It definitely had to have been a hot minute because I'm pretty confident I ordered this from Right Stuff at the time, which was a while back. But anyway, yeah, I had no regrets. I had no regrets. Still don't have any regrets. I'm reading the spin-off series and I deeply, deeply love it. It's been very fun to see cameos from this series in that one. Again, I'm due for a reread and I wish I could expand more on just how important I think this series is, especially when we have so much, not just with politics, but so many things that people feel like, well, I don't like you because of how you look. That could come down to skin, to eye color, which may sound silly, but it could come down to eye color. It could come down to how they style their hair. And I mean, even now, it feels like it's even growing of like, well, I don't like that you like X manga, so I'm going to get you canceled. Because I mean, I just saw that today. We won't go into that, but that was really upsetting to find out what happened to a BL manga creator and how she just deleted her profile on Twitter. And it's just like, you know, if you don't like something, that's fine. If you don't like something, that's fine. But I think this series shows you cannot hate other people simply because you don't like something about, say, their race or something about them specifically. There is a thing that is, you know, just if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But there's character growth that happens. And just, again, feel this is a really important series and I'm very thankful that we have it. I'm really thankful too. I never watched the anime, but I know several people who did, who deeply enjoyed it. And I feel like this is such a series that really really deserves that kind of attention because of the messages and the themes, and all the characters are really great. And I really love Sarafi and Leo's relationship and how they really push and challenge each other to grow. And Leo often says, you know, if I don't grow, then you're gonna leave me behind because you're just growing so much, which is incredible when she's the only human among all of these beasts. And there are characters who make it known they do not like her, that they do not want her here, they do not feel she deserves or has a right to be here. I mean, on the flip side, you do have a few characters who really love Sarafi, and you see them pour their time into her. And I truly love that regardless, when it comes to Sarafi, she doesn't seem to care if somebody does or does not like her. She doesn't look at someone and say, oh, that's a beast, I can't talk to them. Or that's a beast, I better be afraid because they might hurt me and because they are a beast. Or hey, that's a human, that is my brethren, and they will treat me respectfully. No, it's not that simple. The lines get really dirty and it explores all of that. It is absolutely phenomenal. I can't recommend it enough. I don't know how easy or hard it is to find. I feel like at the time that I bought it, there were volumes that were going out of stock. Hopefully it has been restocked, because how can you read the spinoff if you don't have the original series? And the spinoff has been superb. I would highly recommend that as well. Just, you know, read the main series first. But yes, love this series. As you can see, I love all these series. Much gushing, much excitement. And if you're curious about some other green covers that I found that I love, here is this week's graphic. I'm really excited how it turned out. Shout again to my friend Gira for doing the rainbow text. I really love how it just brings it all together, and so many amazing green covers. I really feel like it's hard to find and lock in like just one favorite, but I would love to know, what are some of your favorite green covers? Did I feature any series you really enjoy or favorite covers as well? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!